Hello everyone, and today we are back for another top 5 video, and we're going to be talking about the top 5 Loomians in 2023. So the Loomians that have been added into the game in 2023 will be added on this list. This was going to be a top 10, but unfortunately there were only 5 Loomians added in 2023. So with that out of the way, let's head right onto this list. Number 5 onto this list is actually going to be Surebot. Now, Surebot isn't bad, but it has a really bad defensive typing. Ice Metal's really bad, considering that you have two quad weaknesses, especially a quad weakness to Fire and Brawler. And believe me, there are a lot of Loomians that have Brawler priority, which could definitely one-shot a Surebot. But Surebot does make it up with a very good move pool. It has Out of Order, Jetstream, Metal Blast, and Zip Zap, meaning that it does have very good coverage, and it has two really good abilities. It has Shakedown that can actually scout the opposing Loomian's items, and it also has Sugar Rush. So when it consumes an item, it'll actually gain double the speed, making it really fast. The hardest part is you kind of need Zip Zap, and once you use Zip Zap, your Surebot's getting swapped out of the field, meaning that you lose your Sugar Rush boost, which is definitely a huge flaw for Surebot. Not to mention that once you use Out of Order once, you can't use Out of Order again, which definitely makes Surebot struggle, and not to mention that the stats are by far the worst out of any Loomian added in 2023. Again, this Loomian is not bad, but it's definitely the worst Loomian added in 2023. Number 4 onto this list is going to be Billoforge. Billoforge is actually way better than Surebot. It has a better defensive typing, has great coverage, and it has way better stats, and pretty much everything besides one thing, but we'll get to that later. Billoforge is awesome. This thing has awesome coverage. Kindled Rage makes it so you do double the damage after you get attacked, which, when combined with its slow speed, makes it deal a ton of damage. Not to mention, this is probably the only Loomian into the game that has metal coverage, which is insane. Probably besides another Loomian we'll talk about later on this list. Billoforge also is one of the best mixed attackers in Loomian Legacy as well, so you can run melee and ranged attack investment on this Loomian, and it will work really well. But there is one crucial flaw with Billoforge, and it's the fact that it has 24 speed. And the fact that it has 24 speed isn't the worst thing in the world, but this doesn't have a very good range defense, meaning that it actually dies on the range side. Not to mention that it is quad weak to Earth, and there's a lot of Loomians that have Earth-type moves, meaning that your Billoforge gets KO'd really easily. That's what happens when you have a very slow speed stat. It makes Billoforge very hard to use. Thankfully, it does hit pretty hard and does have a lot of other perks that makes it good, so that's why it's number 4 on the list. Number 3 onto this list was really close, but I decided to go with Lumala, the Llama Loomian, the mascot in Loomian Legacy. Lumala is really unique. Its stats are pretty decent, has pretty good bulk on both sides, has a decent range attack and really fast speed, and its coverage is alright. But when you use Spit Out, you pretty much have infinite coverage. Lumala can have any coverage move in the entire game, which is insane. You can have fire coverage, electric coverage, spirit coverage, metal coverage. You have any coverage in the entire game, making Lumala really unpredictable to use and fun. That's what makes Lumala really good, and when you combine that with its high speed stat and also the ability to set up, that makes Lumala really good. Now, there are a bunch of flaws with Lumala that does hold it back, even though it is in the top 3. I mean, it only has 95 range attacks, so it doesn't hit the hardest, at least compared to other range attackers. And once you Spit Out once, you lose that item and you can't use it again. I do wish with, like, if you use something like an Essence, you could use it multiple times, meaning that you can have decent coverage for multiple turns, but unfortunately, that's not how it goes, and it's only a one-time use. And that's why Lumala is only number 3 on the list. Number 2 onto this list is going to be Dragodie. Yes, Dragodie was nerfed recently. It went from 70 speed to 60 speed. It went from 135 range attack to 125, and its bulk has decreased. And it's still the number 2 Loomian added in 2023. It's mainly because of its ability Anomaly that makes it that pretty much swaps the stat boosting. If you get a melee attack increase, you get a melee attack decrease instead. That sounds like an awful ability. Until you use Draco Beam. Once you use a Draco Beam, instead of getting a -2 range attack stat boost, you get +2 ranged attack stat boost, which is insane. And with its infinite coverage, after using one Draco Beam, Dragodie can pretty much sweep any Loomian in the entire game. Probably besides Wobblists, which is insane. Not to mention that it also has decent bulk, even after the nerf, and a very good defensive typing. Dragodie is awesome. It even has Slumber, so it can even heal its health back. Now, it was never going to reach number 1. Maybe if it wasn't nerfed, maybe it would be number 1 on this list. But the number 1 Loomian is overpowered as heck. So overpowered, in fact, that I actually made an OP compilation for it. But Dragodie is still pretty powerful, and it definitely deserves number 2 on the list. The best Loomian added in 2023 is Turonics. No contest. Turonics is number 1. Maybe the original Dragodie could have competed for it, but even then, Turonics is a totally different beast. Magnify, Lightspeed Ray, you win. Especially when you combine that with the Reaper ability. It even has Frost Beam coverage, meaning that you can actually hit all the plant types that is immune to your light types attacks. Has very good synergy with each other, which is awesome. Not to mention the Reaper ability, making you gain health back after you KO a Loomian. It's awesome defensive typing, making it only have one weakness. Yeah, you have more immunities and weaknesses with Turonics, which is awesome. And even though it has a slow speed stat, that is covered up with Lightspeed Ray, meaning that you can actually outspeed everything in the entire game. Nova Blast also hits hard. The Dense Fog ability gets rid of other Loomian's abilities. But since you're a Spirit type, you keep your Reaper ability, which is awesome. Turonics is one of the most OP Loomians in the entire game, and that doesn't even talk about its pre-evolved form, Lamp Purge. One of the most broken Loomians in the entire game, especially for doubles battles. Turonics is by far the most OP Loomian in the entire game right now, and it definitely deserves to be one of the best Loomians added in 2023. If there is a Loomian that has its extremely OP compilation for it, then I think it definitely deserves to be number 1 on this list, because this Loomian is just insane. And here it is, the best Loomian added in 2023. It does kind of stink that there are only 5 Loomians added in 2023 so far, which does kind of stink. It does kind of show how rough Loomian Legacy is right now. But hopefully Atlantean City Part 2 will fix that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!